sound check? We're good? Can I get a snap? All right. Well, Fasin, I'm going to teach you all a word as we get started. In my language, Fasin means good evening. So I'm going to say it, and I'm going to have you guys say it back to me. Fasin. Fasin. Dijiha went a Tracie Revis SAT. Dijiha Goadzawase Yosene Sensen Chiriguada. My name is Tracie Revis. I am a Yuchi woman and of the Muskogee Creek Nation, and I am new here to Macon. So thank you all for having me tonight. I'm really excited. Culture is a big part of who I am. And as I was thinking about this theme, tracking heritage and tracking culture, what does that mean? And I was thinking, what do we do when we meet a new person? I'm meeting you for the first time. Hi, my name is. Hi, my name is. There's even a song about it, right? So talking about a name is so critical, and I thought, what a better way to introduce myself to this community than to talk about my name and how I name myself. But before I get into that, to set the stage, I think it's important to tell a story from the way that my community tells stories. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this chief who wasn't very well liked in his community. He was a fierce, mean man, and he didn't really have a lot of tolerance for his people. Well, one day he comes before the village, and he stands in front of them and says, I know you want me to leave, but I won't leave. Challenge me, beat me, and then I'll leave. So he decides he will challenge them, and he'll come back the next day. So he goes home to tell his wife what's about to happen the next day, and he sends the community to find their best warrior. Next morning at sunrise, he sets forward to the community, to the village, comes in front of everyone. Now send forth your best warrior. No one comes up. The people are trembling. They're scared. Well, this little kid who has no idea what's going on is just playing in the background. Comes running through the crowd. He comes in the middle. Chief, this is your warrior? Is this all that you have to beat me, this wise man? I'll allow it. So they've decided they're going to have a nonverbal battle, and they're going to face off, and it'll go in phases. So the chief, he looks at the little boy. Little boy. Must be luck. It goes to the second phase. The chief, he looks at the little boy. Little boy. This can't be. Spirits must be talking to him. There's no way that he can match me. No, it's luck. There's no way. Goes to the third phase. The chief, he pulls out a piece of cheese. The little boy looks at him and pulls out an egg. This little boy has beaten me. Listen to him. He could be your next leader. Well, he leaves to head home to tell his wife, we got to go. They're coming after us. We got to get out of town. And she says, husband, how you, a wise man, how did you lose to this little child? Well, I put up my hand. I told him I was going to smash his people. I was going to wipe them out. He said, no, they would fight back. I put up my fingers to tell him I would divide his people into two. He said, no, they would stand as one. And I pulled out a piece of cheese to show him what his people would look like when I was through with them. He pulled out an egg and showed me it was a symbol of rebirth. This little boy is wise. The little boy doesn't really know what's going on. He's just playing. He wants to get back to playing. His mom says, son, how did you do this? How did you beat this man? Well, he put up his hand like he's going to slap me. So I told him I was going to hit him. He put up his fingers like he's going to poke me in my eyes. So I blocked it. And he pulled out his lunch, so I pulled out mine. And I tell you that story because so many of our stories are often not what they seem. So my story begins December 3rd, 1977 in Oklahoma. My parents live in Oklahoma City, which is 2 hours away from my tribal community. And my dad is in the military at this time. And he has to be off that weekend, and he's gone. And my mom has been having nightmares, and she'd been spotting, and my dad was really worried. And he said, I need you to go and stay with my mom. My mom is the first non-native married into my family, and that's very important, and I will explain why in a minute. But he sends her to spend the time while he's gone with my full-blood Native grandmother and my full-blood Native aunt, who's Navajo from the Navajo reservation. And so she takes my brother, and they head to Sapulpa, Oklahoma, to stay at my grandma's. And as luck would have it, my Aunt Faith is in town, who is a teacher. And as all aunties do when they get the little kids, my grandma had 3 grandchildren at that time, all under the age of 2. She said, hey, I'm taking the kids, and we're going shopping. So my aunt grabs all 3 of the kids, and she takes them to Buster Brown's because everyone's getting new shoes. Yay! So lo and behold, and not even more than an hour after my aunt has taken the kids to go have some good auntie time, my mom's water breaks. And everyone begins to panic. Within Indian communities, whenever we need to go to the hospital, we have to go to Indian hospitals. We go to Indian health services. Well, the closest one was 45 miles away. My mom, who's non-native, was just going along with what the family was doing. She was involved in the family. Whatever the family wanted to do is what they did. Now, they live in a suburb of Tulsa, and Tulsa's a pretty good-sized city. And there was a hospital 5 miles away, and they had insurance. But my mom goes along with whatever my grandma wants to do. My grandma's the matriarch. Let's get her to the hospital. So here we go. My grandma and all her chaos. Let's get her out the door. They waddle her all the way out the door into my grandmother's large Plymouth. She's got a huge brown Plymouth that's sitting in the driveway. You've got my aunt sitting on one side, and she's pulling my mom from one side, and my grandma's pushing my mom. Let's get her in the back seat, and they get her inside, and my aunt's in the back seat, and my grandmother peels out of the gravel driveway, and she's taking off, and she takes off down the road 45 miles to get to the nearest hospital, and at that time, speed limit was about 50 miles an hour. So here comes my grandma, and she's the funniest person I know, but she is peeling out, and she is driving like a mad woman. She is driving in the Indy 500, darting through cars and going down the highway. And lo and behold, here come the lights. Woo, woo. And she gets pulled over. So here comes this nice officer who is doing his job, and he's all calm and walks up to the window to knock on the window. Here's my grandmother. Cranking the window down back in those days, cranking the window. She's holding the wheel just tightly, and she opens the window, and she just yells at him, she's having a baby! And he panics, so he begins to panic. Throw her in my car! Of course, throwing a pregnant woman is not easy. So he opens the back door, and here we do the dance again. And here's the officer now pulling my mom, and my aunt's on the other side pushing my mom, and they're trying to get her out. And they get her out of the car, and then they do the dance again, and they get her into his car. And my aunt's pulling her in, and he's pushing her in. So he takes off down the highway. Here comes my grandmother behind him, and she is drafting off of him, going like crazy all the way down. And they get into the city of Claremore, Oklahoma, which is where the Indian Hospital is located, on a beautiful Saturday afternoon in December, and the Christmas parade is going on. So he radios ahead and says, I've got a pregnant woman and she is delivering now. I need to get through. So think of, again, the musicals, Professor Harold Hill and the Music Men, 76 trombones, and everyone's coming. And here comes Santa Claus right behind in the Christmas parade. And they stop the parade and they split the parade. And here comes the police officers driving straight down the middle. He pulls into the back and the gurney is waiting right there. And they get my mom out one more time. They get her onto the gurney. They get her inside the hospital, and within minutes, I am delivered. In this story, so the name is where we began. My mom is there in the hospital room, and here come all of my brothers and sisters, because I don't have cousins. All of my first cousins are considered my brothers and sisters. So here comes my biological brother and my brother Terrence and my sister Melissa, and they're inside, and everybody's got brand new shoes. And my mom is on the phone with my dad, and she's just delivered. And she says, what are we going to name her? And to hear the rest of it, you'll have to stick around, and I'll tell you how we got there. Thanks, guys.